Morning. I appreciate the rubbish going on in Parliament yesterday. It was probably getting a bit ridiculous, a bit difficult to follow. So I just want to explain it as simply as I can. Essentially, the government want to deliver Brexit on the 31st of October, but the opposition is saying they're not willing to allow us to get to the end of October unless we can guarantee a deal. Obviously we can't. So the opposition is legislating to force the government to seek an extension beyond the 31st of October. A lot of people say it takes no deal off the table. It doesn't. It just kicks the can down the road, probably into the new year, which to my mind doesn't help anyone or anything. So we're in a position now where there's something of a stalemate. Government can't deliver its flagship policy to deliver Brexit, and the opposition aren't willing to break the stalemate by allowing an election. We obviously had the vote yesterday on that election, and Labour and the SNP, Liberal Democrats, said no. They're saying that that's because they can't guarantee that that election will take place before the end of October, and they don't want the government to push it into November so we end up leaving with no deal by default. I think that's a bit of an excuse, to be honest, but they are saying in theory that if this legislation passes through the House of Commons and is given royal assent, so to speak, if it's made into an official law, then they would consent to an election. There was a lot of talk as the bill now goes to the House of Lords today about the Lords just talking and basically using up all the time until it's too late, and Boris then proroguing Parliament, shutting down Parliament next week. That would cancel this law, and then we'd come back in October. I don't think that's particularly helpful, because we'd just be back in the same position again on the 14th of October, and that isn't happening. So it seems there's been a deal agreed somewhere that the Lords basically stood down last night, and they're going to allow that bill to pass. My assumption, and I may be wrong, my assumption is that the agreement was that we allow this law to pass and then we come back and we have another vote on a general election on Monday. That's the only reason I can see why we would be letting this pass. As I say, it passing is not a major issue. If there's an election, it means that obviously whoever wins that election would be able to change that law if they wanted to, so there would be no requirement to seek extension if that were the case. So the position we're in today is that that bill will pass and will be given royal assent probably on Monday, and there's still quite a high likelihood that we'll have an election in October. Things might become a bit clearer through the course of today, but I'll keep you in the loop.